Obviously, it's great to win football games. It was not pretty, as you all know, but it was a win. The team hung in there, played together. Really, the offense at the end of the half and into the game, really doing a great job defensively when they had to shut down UNLV there at the end. They did a nice job, and it was a good win. It's pretty decisive in what's next and what's in front of us.
Thank you, Coach. We'll start with Troy.
Hey, Coach, congrats on the win Friday night. I wonder, your post-game comments, you talked about how you went for it on fourth down, sort of because you didn't have a great deal of confidence in your defense at the time to stop UNLV. And I'm wondering if you will use that this week as a challenge for your defense to motivate them a little bit more.
Well, we got great defensive coaches, and those guys, believe me, Coach Maddox and the rest of the guys on that side of the ball, they'll be motivated. I can promise you that. My point was, as much as anything, you got metrics and all those things that people are looking at, but it's still a gut, what you feel, because it's tangible when you're on the sidelines.
You mentioned, what's in front of us, and I'd just like to hear what your initial message to your team will be, because both Caden and Lucas talked about going 1-0 every week, but this is really a championship game for you to get to the championship game, correct?
Well, it is going 1-0. I mean, that's what we've talked about all year. Win 22, and to do that, we've got to win the next game. We've had to do that multiple weeks after getting beat by Fresno. I think our guys did a tremendous job staying together, but it's simple. As simple as it is, you got to go 1-0.
Coach, can you discuss Lucas Johnson, the adversity he's gone through, the injuries at Georgia Tech, transferring here, being the starter, losing the starter job, getting the starter job, and then obviously what he did on kind of culminating on Friday, but just the journey he did and how he handled all that adversity that you saw?
Well, he when Lucas got here, there was something about him that you gravitated to him a little bit and all that kind of stuff. But from a playing quarterback, I thought he's improved. I thought he improved during the off season a year ago. Obviously, coming into this season, I thought there was improvement, and I think he just kind of he's become more, I think, comfortable in what he's doing. And I think part of that is knowing the system. And I do think part of it early was him knowing our players and getting to know the guys on his teammates, and his teammates getting to know him.
When you named Jordan the starter at the beginning of the season, did you talk to Lucas and say, there's probably going to be a point this year where we're going to need you? So did you have to pep him up? And what was his reaction in that conversation, if you had it?
Yeah, we did have it. And it was a simple conversation. Yeah, we're going to need you. Something's going to happen. I had the same conversation with Jordan when Lucas became the starter. So, we've got to count on everybody. Everybody's got to be in tune to what we're trying to accomplish as a football team and as a group.
Coach, your team is 10-1 and obviously nationally ranked, getting national recognition. You've been in the spot before where you were at San Diego State, you were getting national recognition and maybe getting some looks from Power 5 teams. I'm sure speculation will come up, your name will come up. And I'm just curious as to if your name came up, your thought process might be.
My name's not going to come up. I'll guarantee you that. And we're happy as hell to be here.
Thank you, Coach. We're happy to have you.
All right, Troy. Thanks.
Thank you, Troy. We'll go to Andre.
Hey, Coach. Your team is 6-0 in one-score games. What would you say is the primary reason for
that? They're pretty resilient, and I didn't realize that, so I'm glad you said that. But I think they're pretty resilient. I think they're a group that There hadn't been any finger pointing. When one side of the ball is not doing as well as another side, there's been none of that. They've believed in each other, and it's been a fun group to be around. I think our older guys, the guys who have been here, obviously I think we got 3 guys who are in their 6th year. I think there's been some really good leadership from those guys.
And about those older players heading into senior day, obviously as a head coach, what's your perspective on that? And is it kind of strange this year, given the fact that some of them might actually be able to use an exemption and come back for one more year?
Yeah, no doubt that it will be strange, but it's something that's really important and has always been important to me because you got guys, like I said, there's 3 guys who have gone through winter conditioning and spring ball, 5 times or 6 times. And, that investment, because as you know, and this isn't easy, right? I mean, it's not easy, and it's not for everyone. And I think our guys understand that. The guys who have come through it, I've got a lot of respect for.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck this week.
Thanks, Andre.
Thank you, Andre. We'll go to Bryce.
Hi, Brady. You mentioned, I think last week or maybe after the game this weekend, that essentially your program has played 2 seasons of road games, 2 straight seasons of all road games. What does that say about this group in particular, given that they still control their own destiny to not only win the conference, but to set a record for wins in the season?
Yeah, I think, Bryce, I've got a lot of respect. I've got a lot of respect for those kids and what they've done. I mean, they have not played at home. It was, shoot, I can't remember. Who'd we play after, before UNLV? Who was that, Lee? Hawaii. Nope. Nevada. Playing Nevada here, that was homecoming. I'll tell you the one thing, Bryce. There were a lot of San Diego State people up in Las Vegas. I mean, when you looked at that crowd, it was, in my opinion, more San Diego State than it was UNLV. I know one thing: our people were a lot louder, but our team. And back to your question, really, I got a ton of respect for what these guys have done, because they've had to manufacture some energy at times. They've had to manufacture some enthusiasm.
What the backdrop of this entire game or weekend is so strange in so many ways for your program. You're playing at 9 a.m. on a Friday. It's the day after Thanksgiving, so you have all the holiday stuff going on in terms of schedules. But the normal things you deal with, you're 115 miles from campus. It's hard to get people to travel up there in the kind of numbers you would certainly have if you were playing here. I know the exposure on CBS will be good, and I'm sure the players will be excited about that. But given the importance of this particular game in terms of the conference championship and those sorts of things, do you wish there was potentially factors at play that would give you a little better game day environment, or are you worried about that at all?
No, I'm really not. Our guys, when we winter condition, we start at 6 a.m. When we do our conditioning in the summer, our guys start at 6 a.m. They lifted this morning at 5:30. That's the same time they're going to eat pregame meal on Friday. We've got, Thursday for us is obviously tomorrow, and I'm sorry, not tomorrow, but is Wednesday, and we're going to have Thanksgiving dinner and all those things as a team.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, we'll go to Kirk.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned a little bit about some of the timing of how things will be this week. Could you do a little more detail, like Wednesday, will that be a morning practice? And then what else on Wednesday?
Yeah, it'll be morning practice, and then we'll eat about 1 o'clock. We've got Thanksgiving dinner coming, so we'll eat about 1 o'clock, and then the guys in town can go see their folks and do all that kind of stuff. And a lot of those guys take some of the other guys who are out of town. So it'll be an opportunity for guys to get together, but we'll eat as a team.
And then take me through Thursday. Is that again an early like walkthrough before heading to Carson, or how does that?
Yep. That'll be all the same. We'll leave here. I can't remember what time it is. A little earlier than normal, but we'll do walkthroughs, and then we'll do walkthroughs when we get up there. So it'll be pretty much as normal.
So then, would you be monitoring that Fresno State game?
I'm sure I'll have eyes on it.
Then tell me a little bit about Friday morning. You mentioned eating at 5:30. Is that a lighter meal than it might be on a normal time? I mean, how much do you want them to have inside their systems before they take the field?
Enough so where they're comfortable that they can play their best. You know, it will be a normal pregame meal. And, you know, there's a lot of guys don't eat that. You know, there's a lot of guys who can't eat before they play. I was one of those guys. Obviously, I got over it, but, you know, that was a problem for me.
And what's the biggest challenge or consideration when you go from normally being around, you know, waiting for a game to now it's right upon you, you know, an hour or so after you get out of bed?
I think that's awesome. I'd love to do that every day, because waiting until 8:30 to play, that's hard.
So, but how do you get the motors all fired up, you know, so soon in the day?
But they better be fired up, and we better be fired up. It's you get a chance to go compete. You get a chance to go play the greatest team sport there is.
A little bit on Boise. They started a little slower than they normally do. What are they doing well now? That's the biggest challenge for you guys.
Well, they got good players. You know, you look at their schedule. You know, they played some pretty good football teams and lost to a couple good football teams, but they got good quarterbacks. They got a really good offensive line. Defensively, I think they're two safeties in their nickel Sam. The defensive line, I mean, they're a good, solid, better than solid. They're a really good football team, and it's going to be a heck of a football game.
This is the last in the run of really good quarterbacks you'll face. What has facing the others helped you for to be ready for this moment?
Well, you know, we faced a lot of different quarterbacks to some degree with different skill sets, but all good within that skill set. So I think from a defensive standpoint, you know, they have a quarterback who's able to run and throw the ball. Would rather throw it, but can run the ball pretty decent. So it kind of, you know, we've had to defend both, and I think that's helped us.
And is their defense a little unheralded, or is there anything in particular about their defense that presents the?
No, I think they're really an aggressive group, really physical group. You know, I think they've gotten better as the season's gone forward, and so you know, we're going to have it's going to be a long day for everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kirk. We'll go to Brandon.
Greetings, Coach. Best of luck this week.
Thanks, Brandon.
Two of the three top tacklers for Boise, and three of the top seven are guys from our shores. Obviously, I don't expect you to run an encyclopedia on all of them, but specifically the top one, J.L. Skinner, the safety. Do you have any thoughts on him and how he plays at all?
Yeah, I think I think him and the other safety, I think they're really good players. Jones, I think, you know, Skinner and him both do a great job patrolling the the middle of the field, and they're physical guys. They're really good football players. I think Noah is a really good football player.
I would agree with that assessment too. They're
Yeah.
pretty darn good. When you have teams that have a lot of local players on them, do you think that actually long run, if somebody at home maybe says, "Oh, I wasn't going to watch the San Diego State game, but they're playing the guy I know from La Mesa or the guy I know from Point Loma," and then they get to see a little bit more of your school at the same time?
Say that one more time, Brandon. I'm sorry.
Absolutely. Do these games help you if someone says, "I wasn't planning on watching San Diego State, but I know the guy from Point Loma on Boise, so now I'm going to tune in
I got you.
and watch"?
Well, yeah, I think it can have an effect. I don't think there's any doubt about it. We are committed to recruiting the heck out of San Diego and San Diego, football players. We think they're really good. Some guys want to get away from home, and that happens, and that happens more than people think. And we'd like to keep them all here if we can. It'd be much easier for the parents. And I think, when you look at the new stadium that we have, there's no excuses.
Amen. And last question, I apologize if someone brought this up already. I tried to ask Coach Dutcher, I said, your basketball team is going to be in LA at the same time as your football team is. You think you maybe wake them up, have them go out to the game? He didn't sound like he was ready to do it. I'm saying you might want to ask him.
Well, the only thing, I think Dutch is doing a pretty good job handling his business, and I'm not going to step in the middle of his.
Amen to that. Thank you very much.
You got it.
Thank you, Brandon. We'll go to John.
Coach, good to see you. Do you feel as if there's been way too much made of the start time, and it's more really advantageous? There's more positives than negatives, especially playing, on CBS at noon Eastern time on Friday?
Well, I know this. I think our kids are excited about it. I think they don't care when we play. They just know that they got a job to do, and we all do, and to go out and play. And I do know that my father-in-law, who's 90, and my mom, who's 89, they'll like the time the game's on at noon back in Ohio. So I feel good for them.
What do you think of the job that Andy Avalos has done overall in his first year?
Well, I think Andy's done a nice job. I don't know Andy very well. I think, when you look at, their schedule and you look at what they've done, I think he's done a heck of a job.
Would you like to see more San Diego State, Boise State in the future? Because the way the divisions are set up, this is the first meeting since 2018. Would it be better for San Diego State or Boise or for the league to play every year or not?
That's a league question. I mean, yeah, we'll play anybody. I mean, it doesn't matter. If we play them every year, that'd be great.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
Thank you, John. We'll go to Lee.
Hey, Brady, a follow-up on that. Mountain West is looking at dissolving the divisions and just playing one group. You would favor that and maybe expanding how many games you play within your conference, or is it really important to have some national prestige by punching a Pac-10 team in the mouth, stuff like that?
Well, I think, in fact, it's funny, Lee, before I got on this call, we were on a Mountain West call with all the coaches, and that was one of the things that got brought up. I'll be very honest with you. I haven't thought about it. Right now, my thoughts are somewhere else. And so I haven't really thought about that. I think I would be in favor, not knowing enough. Let's not have the divisions and find a way out to get it done.
Question about Lucas. Is there a point in the last month or so where a light bulb went on and his confidence level went to a different point that he suddenly realized, A, he can run this football, and B, he can be accurate throwing it? Has it become a different quarterback?
Well, I think so. I think so. I think he's been more assertive. I think he is, and you can tell it. You know, we'll do Skelly today, and you can tell it when he takes his drop, gets on his platform, and gets rid of the ball. So I think there's a lot of things that he's done better. I think he's when he has run the ball, I think he's been more decisive also, and I think he's more comfortable. And I think as a team, it's been a spark for us when he does take the ball and run.
A question about the enemy. Based on what Hayner did, and then obviously what Carson Strong did, then what Rogers did, have opposing coaches found holes in your defense and how to attack you through the passing game?
No, I don't think so. I mean, the best quarterback in the league had a, he didn't have a great day. I mean, we hit him enough. I think, their drop 8 stuff worked out pretty well. But it's everybody's a little different. Bachmeier's a little different than the rest of them. So it'll be interesting.
Question about playing early.
Yes,
so
sir.
You had spaghetti for breakfast aside from when you were in a frat house at Ball State at 9:30 in the morning?
Well, number one, I wasn't in a frat, so let me clear that up. Secondly, cold pizza is always good. I do know that, and I don't think you or I ever turned that down.
Been there, done that.
Yep.
Hey, I do have a non-Aztec question. Since you were part of the rivalry, can you just give us a description of what it's like to be part of Michigan, Ohio State?
Well, being a guy who grew up in Ohio and being a Michigan fan, it was always, something that you look forward to. And my dad played for Coach Hayes at Miami of Ohio, so it was a great rivalry. I think it's the best in the game of football.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, thanks.
Last question here for Troy.
Hey, Coach, just to follow up when my last question I asked you when you said you're not going anywhere or something to that effect, or you can guarantee. Have you made steps? Have you told your agent? Have you said if anybody comes calling, just tell them I'm not interested already?
I don't have an agent.
Have you told your wife that?
She tells me more than I tell her. I'll guarantee you that.
When you were here in your first stint, you were an up-and-coming guy. You'd come from Ball State to SDSU to Michigan, and you were an upward trajectory. Obviously, age and experience changes things. Are you in a different spot than you were when you were here at SDSU the first time in terms of how you viewed your coaching career and what you wanted to do, where you wanted to go, and where you wanted to be?
Yeah, Troy, I think, different times, for different decisions and different things that you like to do. And, this is a great place and we love it here and we're staying here.